welcome back to Excel Part 2. This time we're going to be working on our formatting options in order to make our data tables look a little bit more professional. So first we're going to look at centering text, so getting it into the center of boxes. We're going to look at fonts, so you can choose fonts, again professional fonts, and size of fonts that make sense for your data table. Fourth, we're going to take a look at superscripts and subscripts, and finally we're going to look at wrapping text and when that makes sense. Let's get started. First, we're going to take a look at centering text. A lot of these options should look incredibly familiar to you, probably from Microsoft Word. So in our Excel, we're going to try and find these buttons. On our data table, let's choose all of the boxes that we want to have our information centered in. So I'm actually going to select all of my boxes and come up here to the top where I see those boxes, where I see those centering options. So again, middle align, meaning it's going to be vertically in the center of the box, and then also center align, so all of our data will be in the center of those boxes. Again, play around with these buttons up here. They're going to be your friends in getting your data to look the way you want it to. Let's move on. Step 2, font and font size. Similar to in Word, we have our font options and the size of our font along with bold, italics, underline. All of those options are available to you in Microsoft Excel. So in our data table, it looks like our top title is bolded and a little bit bigger. So we might choose to click on the bold, make our sizing, font size a little bit larger, and if you want to, you can change it to another professional font. Personally, I really like Calibri, maybe Times New Roman, but again, that is your choice as long as it is professional and legible. Moving on. Step 4. Subscripts and superscripts. These are a little bit harder to get to. There are a couple more clicks that you need to take. But we notice in our data table that we would like this 1 next to our M. So our first mass, to have that 1 be, we call it a superscript, to make that number smaller. So I'm going to select that 1, and I have 2 options now. I'm going to double click, so use both of my fingers to click down, and I get an option menu. Here I'm going to click Format Cells. Our other option, once you've highlighted the number or letter that you'd like to make a subscript, is to come up at the top of the screen to Format, and then click on Format Cells. So again, I get to the same box that I was in before. Here again, I can change my font size or my font type if I choose to, but this area right here is what I'm really looking at. So in this case, we'd like to make it a subscript. If you'd like to make an exponent, you could change this and make it a superscript, in which case that number would go higher rather than lower. We're going to stick with subscript in this case, and we're going to press OK. Let's do that one more time just as an example. We select that number, 2-finger click, Format Cells, and again, subscript, press Enter, moving on. Our final formatting option for today is going to be our wrap text. So wrap text is a wonderful option when you have a lot of writing in a single box. For example, if our title was a little bit longer, so we made it how mass and distance from fulcrum affect balance, etc., 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 and I press Enter. Take a look at how this writing is now running off of the page, and if I were to print this, I wouldn't be able to see that writing. What we can do, if we choose to, is come up here to the top where it says Wrap Text. If I click on Wrap Text, that text will now all be in the same box, so it automatically goes to the next line when it runs out of space. I can then adjust the height of that box for that title in order to give those words enough space. Again, wrap text is a great option when you're looking at any headers or titles for your data. Not a great option when you're trying to include it in the data values themselves. That is all for today, folks. Thanks so much for joining in on Part 2 formatting options. If you have more questions, please refer back to the previous steps in this video. Thank you.